All right, so next on the list is what to expect during basketball season. So schedules. You will be added to TeamSnap, as you know. They manage our game schedules. Our practice schedules are on there. We'll email through there. Your coach will email you through there. You'll have a lot of parent chatting going on in there about preferably positive things and rides to games and who's bringing brownies and that sort of stuff that you can use. The coach will load you into that once the teams are formed. You're not on one yet because we haven't formed teams yet. So after, Monday, Tuesday next week, and then we kind of have fall break. Everybody kind of gets one more day Monday to help form teams the right way. Once you're put on a team, you'll get loaded into TeamSnap, and that will be the way that you communicate with people. I love your emails. I love your communication, but you got to understand with 130 some kids playing basketball, I can't answer all your questions all the time. So go to your coach first. If your coach can't answer it, that coach will ask me to help them. So please, once you get put on a team, work with your coach for your questions, and we'll take that from there. Practice schedules, we're going to try to keep them as consistent as we can. Please understand we're going to have 12 basketball teams this year. I have one gym here that has 2 courts, and we have Iroquois, which has 2 courts. And so we also have to host games. And so there's a little bit of like movement. I'm going to try to keep it as consistent as I can for everybody, but know that sometimes it won't be perfectly consistent. And, we have to make sure that we remember we're doing the best we can. We also have to do it based on coach availability and coach schedules, because some coaches work till 5 and they can't practice till 6:30. Some don't have to do that, so they can practice earlier. And so there's just some of those things that happen that we have to work with. Game schedules will be loaded right into TeamSnap. We should get 8 regular season games, and we should get a tournament at the end, which will be based on records, and you'll be put into a tournament. There's a new change to Grcms, our league's structure this year. 5-6 will remain the same. 7th grade is going to have like an A league and a B league. Okay, so there will be people on an A team, and they'll play against other A teams. And there will be people on our B teams, and they'll play against other B teams. That then will carry over next year, so that 7th and 8th operate under that structure. But this year, it's just going to be 7th grade. In 8th grade, we're still going to have our A team and our B team, and they'll compete in the league, and then they'll go into developmentally appropriate tournament at the end where they can participate with the other teams at their development level in the tournament. And so that structure is coming for 7th and 8th grade. It's starting in 7th. It will eventually be 7th and 8th going forward. Questions about some of those things? Anybody have a question about that? You can unmute yourself and ask, or you can type in the chat. Okay. Next is working with coach. I've been a coach for a long time, and I am currently going to be a 7th grade B team coach here. I've coached at our varsity level. I played college basketball. I coach our varsity golf team. I've been a coach for a long time. And so I always like to spend a moment just to talk with you about what it's like to be a coach on the other side of your communication. I've coached for 37 seasons, been fortunate enough to win 2 state championships as a coach, which is awesome. And every time I get an email from a parent, I'm afraid. Okay, like I get a shot of adrenaline and I get worried, because the first thing I've been conditioned to think, by the way that parents have treated me as a coach, regardless of our success level, wins and losses, is that when they email me, I should be afraid of what they're going to say, because they're going to rip me apart. They're going to tell me why I'm a bad coach, I'm a terrible human, why I've cheated their child, or why I've cheated them, or whatever it may be, something like that. And so what's weird, because I've been a winning coach and I've, all these things, but parents have accidentally conditioned coaches to fear them. And so I want you to think about that. I usually don't. My golf team does this now because I speak to them about this. But the parents on the golf team, they'll send me emails now that say things like, hey, that was a really busy week. Thanks for all the communication you gave us to make that go well. That's really nice. Have you ever done that for your coach? Hey, coach, that was a tough situation we encountered in that game, and you really handled it nicely on the sideline. Thanks for doing that. Right? Have you ever done that for your coach? Like, I would love to recondition our coaches to think that when you them, it's probably going to be a positive and good thing, right? And so we have to work hard at that, because as a community that puts Christ on display, it's really important that we put him on display in the way that we connect with our coaches. They're human beings, they're dads, right? They're friends, they're college students that are learning to coach the game. They're sometimes people that are new to this and they're trying to learn, do they love this? Just like your child's trying to learn, do they love this sport or not? Do they want to invest in it, or do they belong? All of those things. Our coaches are a lot of times doing the same. So treat them with kindness and respect, and try to communicate with them positively as often as you can, because it will help them want to come back. Guess what happens if we don't do that? Coaches leave. People ask, well, why did you leave Grand Rapids Christian? And they tell them because the parents were super mean and they got all over me and they were unreasonable and all these things. And now our reputation's bad. And so now we can't get good coaches because everybody thinks they know what happens to them here. And so you can just see how this is like a tidal wave of like, I'm trying to do one thing as a parent for my kid in my silo. And instead, it's having a tidal wave impact on the community around us, our ability to get good leaders, our ability to be trusted by other people. It just hurts us in so many ways. So I like to talk to a lot of schools and families about what we do by the way we treat people and put Christ on display in the stands or with our coaches is critical. Okay. And so care for our coaches, love them. You expect them to have grace and patience with your child as they learn this game and fail at it and succeed at it and do dumb things. You should really give the coaches the same expectation that you're putting on them with your child. You should give them that same expectation of you need to have grace with them. You need to love them through the challenges and the mistakes that they make. You know, if you want them to do it to your child, you should also do that to them, right? So care for them, be kind to them, engage them in positive ways that aren't necessarily about winning and losing. Just ask them about their family, what they study, what their job is. Be kind to them. Partner with them. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Remember, they signed up to deal with all of us. They're willing to step into this space, into the arena, because they love helping kids. So remember, that's their goal, is to help kids. You may not agree with them on exactly how they do it all the time or their strategies or any of those things, but that's going to happen. You should never expect that everyone's going to agree with you all the time. So partner with them, give them benefit of the doubt. The best way to partner with a coach is to ask questions instead of making statements. So remember that. And then finally, I want you to hear this from me. If you're in any of our meetings, you know this 100%. You are not to talk to the coach about playing time or strategy. That's not your role. Your role as a fan, as a supporter, is to support the team and support your child. You don't support your child by fighting with the coach. That's the opposite of support, right? The coach gets to decide those things, do their best about it. And so please remember that you do not have a space to speak to the coach about playing time or strategy, okay? And I tell all of the coaches in our coach meeting in about an hour, if a parent comes to you and tries to get on your business about playing time or strategy, don't respond to them. Tell me who they are, and then they will get to find me talking to them. And so I just want you to know, like, we want to protect our coaches and love them. Understand they're not going to do it the way that you want them to do it all the time, but you're not the coach. It's not your role to figure that out. Okay? Support them, love them, care for them, put Christ on display in a positive way. That goes for being a fan as well, right? We all wear these C's on our chest. We support our kids. And if we yell at officials, if we yell at other players, if we single out players, if we talk about the other kids on our team loudly in the bleachers and they're our own parents hear each other talking about negative things, that stuff just doesn't reflect Christ very well. It doesn't put him on display in the way that any of us are really looking for, right? We want to put Christ on display in a positive way. So as a fan, make sure that you're being positive, you're supporting our team. If you don't like the officials, that's probably normal because nobody likes the officials. It's kind of a thankless job. And officials are dropping out at a rapid rate in youth sports. We have had games where we only have one official because there aren't enough officials to go around. This is also a middle school league. So do you think we're getting the top officials in the area to officiate our middle school league? The answer is no, we are not. And so it's important for you to remember that they're learning how to do it. When we provide names to our league as people that want to learn how to officiate, they get opportunities to learn on the job in the Grcms League. So they're not going to be experts. They're learning too. They're going to do things you disagree with, expect it. And remember, if we discourage them, we're going to run out of officials. Okay, they're not pros. We watch on TV, people belittle officials all the time. There is very few places in the world where people find it acceptable to pay a $3 entry fee and then treat somebody however they feel like it for 32 minutes. You would never do a job if somebody got to pay $3, stand behind you at your desk, and then just scream at you for doing something wrong or something they thought was wrong, even though they're not even good at your job or a professional at your job. They're going to scream at you about it. You would never work for that place. You'd be like, this place is crazy. Why do they let people in here to do this to us? Yet we do it to officials all the time. So my encouragement to you is just think outside of that. Be bigger than that. Put Christ on display in a better way. If it's the worst official you ever seen, just say, thank you for officiating today. We appreciate you coming here. I have a dream that our school is a refuge for officials, because when they hear they get Grand Rapids Christian as their assignment, they're going to say, oh, I'm so glad their parents aren't crazy there. The coaches there, they're not crazy. That athletic director, he takes good care of us. I like being at that school. They do a good job. Like, what else should be our reputation as Grand Rapids Christian when it comes to basketball if we can't do that? Like, we have to be able to do that for these people. Okay. Something that I've been really interested in is I've been doing some listening to a writer and a speaker called Greg Olson, who is an NFL football player. Some of you may know him. But he has a podcast called Youth Inc. And I just wanted to show you real quick, I'm going to forward this to you, but it's something that can really help us as we manage youth sports. So it's this video. It's called The Car Ride Home. Okay, I'm going to be sending you a link to this. Greg Olson is he sends his kids to Charlotte Christian School. He's a 7th grade football coach there. He's an NFL player, was an NFL player. He coaches 8th grade basketball. He coaches 6th grade baseball for his kids at this Christian school. He happens to be a very famous person who you see on TV on Sunday nights and Sundays doing football games. He's the color commentary. But he has a podcast with very famous people about all things youth sport. It's called Youth Inc. So I'm going to send this link. Has great advice about the car ride home, and I'd encourage you to take a look at it. Okay. I also have a document that I'm really excited about, where it's kind of a combination of this and of what Greg Olson is talking about and things that I've been reading in the book Away Game. If you haven't heard of the book Away Game, it's written by people that run FCA, Fellowship for Christian Athletes, about Christian parenting and how to navigate the youth sports world. And so this thing that I've been putting together here is a report card that I'm going to be talking to our coaches about. And this is what I want to highlight for you today. I'm going to send this to you for you to consider. You'll hear some of this in Greg Olson. Some of this comes from navigating youth sports. But I think the healthiest thing we can do for kids to help them love sport, to get the most out of it, is to use this idea that we can talk about things that are very controllable for kids in a non-confrontational way around athletics. Like, we're going to be talking about as coaches that the barometer for us is for kids to understand effort, focus, and being a good teammate, right? And for us, that means a lot. Being a teammate is being a good Christian counterpart on our team. And so when you think about the ride home, when you think about assessing a child's performance, please make sure that you understand, like, these are great places to start with that, right? Did you feel like you worked hard? Did anything surprise you today? Did you give great focus today? Did you feel like you had great focus out there today? Did you give that to your teammates and to your coach? Were you a great teammate? What does it mean to be a great teammate, Dad, Mom? Well, here's some things about what it means to be a great teammate. Greg Olson will tell you about some of those things in the podcast. But if we can focus on those things, we're going to keep sport healthy for kids. A lot of times adults make sport unhealthy for kids. And so I want to provide positive opportunities for you to invest in positive ways with keeping sports healthy for kids. So I'm going to be sending this. I'm going to be sending a link to that podcast. It's at the bottom. You can see it right here, so you can click it and listen to it sometime. But I really think these are things, if we want to do a great job as a community, we want to put Christ on display in a good way, we got to treat our coaches well. They should have a good feeling about us, right? They shouldn't be afraid of us. 2, we got to treat officials really well. They should have a great feeling about us. They shouldn't be afraid of us, right? And we got to help our kids have a healthy version of sport in their lives. So listen to the podcast. Check out the thing I send you. See if it helps stir some ideas in your head of how you can positively plug in instead of going with the norm of what's happening in society these days. Because it can be a very, very challenging thing in the way that we handle sports in the world. And so that's just a couple of things to give you something to think about. And then the last thing I always want to say in basketball, as somebody who played basketball at the college level and who coached it at high levels, I sit in the stands and watch my son sometimes. And I know some things about basketball because I actually am a varsity basketball coach, like I've done that. But I have to remind myself, I can't coach him from the stands. I can cheer him, I can encourage him, but I can't coach him. I can't tell him what to do. And the reason for that is I put my child in a lose-lose situation. I'm not at practice all week. I don't know what the coach is trying to tell him. I'm not in the huddles with the team. I don't know what the coach is trying to tell him. I'm not listening to the players on the court. I don't know what they're trying to tell him. But if I just put my random perspective in, he now has to decide, am I going to listen to my dad, who I have to go home to, or am I going to listen to my coach? Because either way, if he listens to me, and that's different from the coach, now he's in trouble with coach. And if he listens to coach and not me, and he ignores me, now he's in trouble with me. And so because I want to help him, and I voice that loudly, I put him in a place where he can only lose in this equation. The only thing he can win is if I happen to be right and he makes a shot, he has a small victory in the midst of this losing. And so I want to encourage you, you may coach your child, coach them at home if you really want to. Read the information I send you first about how to be a supportive parent and what the research would say about that. But coach them up. Just don't do it from the bleachers. Okay? Please don't do it from the bleachers. If you do, it just puts them in a tough spot, puts our coach in a tough spot, puts our event manager in a tough spot. Like all of those things start to get hard. And we don't have to make them hard. So that's just some encouragement for you. Let your child play. I don't always agree with what the coach says. I don't always agree for sure with the substitution patterns or who's playing what position. I don't. But that doesn't really matter, right? It's not my experience. It's my son's experience. And so I have to remind myself of that. So hopefully that's an encouragement to you because sometimes you might feel what I feel in that situation. Last thing is the details of team formation. Okay, so Monday and Tuesday next week, we're going to start team formation. Okay, which means your grade level is going to play together and they're going to start to see who's who. All the coaches will be there seeing who's who and start to figure out how do we split the kids up. They're really looking for who are the top players that can really make things go. Who are the players who are newer that need a little more help and who's in the middle. And once they're able to figure those things out, they start to split and equalize the teams. When it's an A and B team, they're looking at how do we split these kids most effectively between that A and B level for, what's going to be the best place for them to get repetitions and game experiences. Is it going to be a small part of an A team or a big part of a B team? What's the best way? Do we already have 4 centers, so we don't need a 5th? Do we already have 4 point guards, so we don't need a 5th? Let's move that 5th point guard down to the B team so that they can play all the time instead of sit, right? So they're going through all of those things for 2 to 3 days. Okay, in 5th grade, we're going to have 27 players. So it's about 9 kids per team. In 6th grade, we have 33 players, 11 kids per team. In 7th grade, we're signed up for 30 players, 10 kids per team. And in 8th grade, currently, we have 27 players. And so 27 in 8th grade, that's the one that I'm most concerned with. If we have a family who says, you know what, I'm not with Kevin on this. I got to stick with whatever team I get put on. I need to know that now, because if we get ourselves from 27 down to 25-ish, we'll probably go 2 teams instead of 3, right? Because once we make an A team, then we have a B team and we have to split that B team equal, right? And so it gives kids tons of opportunities to play at 7th and 8th grade for those B teams. But again, we're splitting our B team talent a little bit. And so that is harder. So if we don't have enough kids to do 3 teams, I kind of need to know that soon. So if you're deciding as an 8th grade family, you don't want to agree with all those things, let me know. If you decided to opt out, please let me know ahead of time so that we can make the best decisions possible. But we're planning on 3 teams in each grade. So we're planning on Monday, Tuesday, and then 7th and 8th grade will also take Monday the 27th to finalize all of their teams. So there'll be a 3-day process for the 7th and 8th grade. The 5th and 6th grade will take Monday and Tuesday, and potentially, if they feel they need another look, their option is to also take Monday the 27th, because I know we have fall break coming up. Does anybody have a question about when team formation will happen? So like those are the days. The times, your coaches after our meeting tonight will be sending either tonight or tomorrow an initial email to you with the exact times. So I have for you, if you want to write this down for Monday, I do have like what time everyone is playing on Monday. So let me grab that a second and share it with you. So Monday at Iroquois, so at Iroquois campus, we use the Iroquois campus for basketball. The 5th grade boys will be doing their team formation on the 20th and the 21st, Monday and Tuesday, 6:30 to 8 at the Iroquois campus. Okay, so 5th grade families, write that down. You can show up a little bit before that, like around 6:15. The doors should be open by 6:15, but don't come an hour early and expect to get in. Make sure that you do that. At Grcms at 3:15 on Monday, the 6th grade will be doing their first day of team formation from 3:15 to 5. Okay, all 6th grade boys will be in the Grcms gym 3:15 to 5. At 5 o'clock, the 7th grade boys will take the 5 to 6:30 slot on Monday for their first day of team formation, and the 8th graders will take 6:30 to 8. Okay, so that's the first day. You can write that down. You can start figuring out carpools and all that stuff. Coach will email you tonight or tomorrow with more details about the 21st and also the 27th as we go forward. So I'll stop now and take a look at the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
For 6th grade boys, did you say, I was sorry, I was dropping off a kid for another event, 3:15 to 5?
6th grade boys on the 20th, that first day is 3:15 to 5. They can stay here right after school. Yep.
Awesome, thank you.
A couple other things. If your student has the 5 o'clock or the 6:30 time somewhere, they cannot stay at school. Okay, they cannot stay at school after school. There's no one to watch them. So the school rule is they're not allowed to stay. Okay, so they have to go home and they have to get a ride.
Timber, come here.
They can go with
Do you want
somebody,
to turn that light on, honey?
but they cannot
Okay.
stay in school after school. Okay. Other questions? Okay, so again, if you decide this isn't for you, that's totally okay. Just let us know. Send me an email. We'll plan on that. Otherwise, we'll see everybody on the 20th, and you'll get information from your coach about your grade level starting either tonight or tomorrow or at the latest on a Friday about what's going to come up next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for treating coaches well. Thank you for treating officials well. Thank you for treating your child well on the car ride home. We really appreciate it. And together we can do a great job helping these kids have a good season. Thank you so much.
Evan, I do have one question if you have a sec.
Yep.
I was in the waiting room